Hello everyone. Today I will be continuing the manipulation type series. This series is made to teach and share the different manipulation tactics we all use. Manipulation is on a spectrum and it can be done by accident or it can be done deliberately to harm others. We may use one manipulation type or combine two or even three types. This series isn't focused on victim versus abuser, but the point of this is to help you understand what manipulation can look like, from very obvious forms to very subtle forms of manipulation. Every type has subcategories, and this series is a general overview of what it can manifest into. Today, we will be speaking on a manipulation type that is very triggering to those who have experienced it, and those who may do it may be blind from knowing that they're doing it, and this is the victim. The victim is the one who is always being hurt, the one who requires sympathy, and the one whose problem is bigger than yours. They over exaggerate their weakness. They can pretend they're worried and they can use that against you. They also play dumb, and a lot of the time, they also pretend to forget and pretend to be confused in order to manipulate and control you and get around things. This needs to be stated also. A clarification on being a victim versus using it as a form of manipulation and also living in what I call victimhood. Anyone can be a victim to someone or something, but that doesn't take away from your pain or your experience. Manipulation by playing the victim is different because they just spin the whole thing around on themselves. They can say, "Oh, I only acted this way because you hurt me, but now you hurt me, so now I'm justified." Then there are those who live in victimhood or victim mentality, where their identity is characterized by being a perpetual victim. These people play the victim by default because it's their identity. Being a victim is what they are at all times, and this happens through past trauma, but this can still lead to someone using victimization to manipulate. Someone is considered a victim when they are hurt by someone or something, whether it's on purpose or not. So if you're in a relationship and your partner has hurt your feelings by accident or on purpose, you are considered a victim of having your feelings hurt. Let's say your partner cheated on you. In this case, you are a victim. This is a very basic definition, and I will explain some more things about this particular scenario later on in the video. But for now, I just want you to understand the basic definition of what being a victim is. You are justified in being the victim through pain alone. Many people are taken advantage of and abused, and you have your own personal experience, and this is subjective. You are justified in feeling angry, and it's the worst feeling when you're manipulated and abused. You want some kind of revenge, you want some kind of justice, and I can't really blame anyone for wanting that. It's only natural, especially when you know that you haven't done anything to the person who has hurt you. They just decided to do so, and now you are a victim to their abuse. Now the question becomes, when does this turn into manipulation? The answer is when someone knows they can hide behind a facade of being a victim in order to excuse themselves for what they're doing to someone else. A manipulator knows they can paint anything in their favor. The facts don't matter. The pain you're going through doesn't matter. The only thing that matters to them is how they will spin the problem onto themselves and make themselves the victim. I mentioned earlier, they also like to play dumb, and they pretend to be confused, and they can hide behind a fake sense of ignorance, like they don't know that they're hurting you or your feelings. And they do this so that when you get upset, they already have set the stage for them to be the victim, and their pain will always be bigger than yours. They can put you in a position where you're going to be the angry one, and they're always going to be the victim. An example in the family setting would be the parents abusing or neglecting their children. And the parents may victimize themselves by saying something like they were neglected when they were children, so that's just the way they know how to do things. Or they may say it was the dad's fault or the mom's fault. I had to work. It can be many different things. And this can all be very valid as well, but this doesn't take away from what has happened. They don't take accountability for everything, and they make any excuse to not take that accountability. With friends, they can blame you and also victimize themselves in ways where they blame you for their relationship falling apart or arguments happening. They may say, "You don't take me into consideration," or "You don't call me enough." But then you can turn the whole script around on them and say, "But you don't call me." and then you reach sort of this stalemate where nothing really happens. Here is where it gets really interesting. I explained earlier when you are justified as a victim, but here is the scenario with the cheating partner a little bit more complicated. You are not justified when you hurt someone else first and then they hurt you back. For example, with the cheating partner, let's say you cheated on your partner. They get so upset they decide to leave, and now you feel like you're the victim. You might say, I cheated on you because you don't give me enough attention. We don't talk anymore. Our relationship is bad now. Now you're painting yourself as the victim. So who is the victim in reality? In this case, technically speaking, it's both people. But now we reach a gray area because the person cheating feels like they were the victim, so they can hide behind their pain and say, I was the victim, therefore I did what I did. Now, the person who gets cheated on is very obviously in pain and also a victim. This happens quite often, and this is how you reach areas where nothing gets resolved and nothing happens, because both people claim to be victims. And you are not justified because even if you did cheat and you were a victim, your job was to first speak to your partner about what is going on and why you feel hurt for whatever reason it may be, so that something can happen and something can be resolved. Now, oftentimes we want to get some sort of revenge, and this is why these things happen, especially in relationships. Going back to the topic on manipulation, manipulators who do this on purpose know that this is just a game. Playing a victim can be flipped in any way, and constantly playing the victim, having to deal with this on a regular basis, you have a lowered self-esteem by natural consequence. And this is because you feel like you are always the problem. And when you are constantly told that you are the problem, your pain gets pushed to the side and everything becomes about the other person. You're the one who has to apologize. You're the one who has to take accountability. And now you have to make them feel better because you hurt them and you're the problem. But your feelings don't matter. And most often they don't even get resolved. You have to push them to the side and you don't even get some sort of apology either. You get nothing in the end. Someone who transforms this victimization into something good turns into the empathizer. I explained how being a victim, this can turn into a gray area where there are two victims. And ultimately this means that there can be two things that are true at the same time. You are a victim and you can also be some sort of antagonist. We all suffer from the same things, and I'm not dismissing anyone's pain or suffering. What I'm saying is, when it comes to understanding victimhood or victim mentality, there's always someone trying to say that their pain is worse than yours, and they will continue to justify themselves. It's not about whose pain is worse. The point is that there is pain on both sides, and that is what empathy is. The ability to see someone else's pain just as much as you can feel your own pain. When two people are genuinely empathetic towards each other, it can prevent so many issues within a relationship. It's a mutual respect and understanding, and this can make any relationship into one worth having, and it makes a relationship very beautiful. So having empathy is very important, and instead of turning yourself into a victim and seeing only the pain that you have, you can see others' pain and then guide yourself through conversation and communication with someone else.